Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Joffrey Noodle Legs here today with another great movie review. Today we're looking at an absolute classic and an absolute favourite movie of mine. I've been longing a long time to do a review of this film, and we're looking at a classic British ghost story film, The Amazing Mr Blunden. Now this is... It's an incredible film. It really, really is. And this is the Second Sight's Blu-ray release of the film. Now, I did order the limited edition, but unfortunately, they just sent me out the standard Blu-ray, which I was a little bit gutted about. And I am still looking to try and pick up the limited collector's edition if I can, because it's done by Second Sight, and as it's one of my favourite movies, I really, really want to try and pick that up. So I've got my eyes open for it. This is an amazing story. It is a children's ghost story, but it's still a horror film. But it's a family horror film. So horror films doesn't always mean to be adult orientated. Some films can be family orientated, you know, like this, like a Picnic at Hanging Rock. Even some animated sort of horror films are sort of family orientated, aren't there? You know, so and this is no exception. This is an amazing story about an old man called Mr Blunden. And now he sort of appears at the beginning of the film. He's visiting a family in London. Now he's gone to visit this family, which is a mother, and she's got a young baby, and she's got a daughter and a son that's called Lucy and James. And he's gone there to offer them a job. Offer her a job as a sort of living kind of caretaker of an old house that is no longer being anybody sort of living there. And they're kind of living in sort of squalor, like a basement underneath probably a house where it's like a cellar. They're living in like a cellar, so it's really run down, but it still looks quite homely and quite nice for its time. Now this is made, I believe, I think it's supposedly supposed to be based around the sort of like beginning of sort of like the 1900s, sort of like World War One sort of time. I could be wrong. It could be a little bit later, maybe World War Two, but I think it's based around World War One sort of time. And Mr Blunden's gone to see this family to try and persuade them to do this job, and she didn't need any hesitation. She accepted it straight away. She goes out to do something with the baby, and Mr Blunden's left in the living room of their little abode with the two lads, Lucy and James. Now he then explains to the children that there's something special about this place where they're going to go and live. And he asks them if they're afraid of ghosts. And they were saying, well, it all depends what sort of ghost it is, you know. Anyway, he wants them to go there because he believes there's other ghosts living there of other children. And because there used to be a couple of children who used to live in the house. Now, he wants these to go there to help these ghosts, because something bad has happened at this house. And when they arrive at the house, it's all run down, and there's a part of the house is all sort of burnt down, sort of like burnt with all sort of charred up window areas. There's been a big fire at the house, and they've gone to live in a cottage which is next to the house, probably where the groundkeepers or whatever used to live, because it's like a big sort of country mansion almost. And they've gone there to be like, the mother's gone there to be like a bit of a caretaker to make sure nothing bad happens to it. Well, before all that happens, they go to the solicitors where Mr Blunden supposedly works from, because when he came, he introduced himself as a solicitor and offered her this job. And she went to the solicitors and they said, well, how did you know about the job? Because the job hasn't even been advertised yet. And they said some old man came, Mr Blunden came to ask them about it, and they're being very sheepish about it. And the young, while the mother's gone in for the job interview, the two children see the portrait of Mr Blunden on the wall, and that they look at it, and the guy that works explains, well, that he couldn't have seen him because he's died 100 years ago. So it looks like our Mr Blunden is a ghost, and there's some sort of connection there, and it's that sort of wonderful story that's all sort of built on. So this family are going to this house, and Mr Blunden is pretty much using these children to discover what actually happened and what caused the problems of this fire at this house, because I believe the wrong people got blamed for it. Now, throughout the film, that they get to meet the ghosts, which I won't show you any sort of clips of them. I want some surprises for you. And the ghosts sort of manage to take them back to their time, and they see the sort of things that are going on, and there's like an evil kind of staff that work there that are trying to get possession of this sort of house, and the story sort of unfolds into this sort of haunted mystery, and all the time it's like it's just very enchanting, and you're sort of glued to it, and you're just thinking, wow, this is so original and so good. I first saw this when I was a child, with my sister, and we both absolutely loved this film. Whenever it used to come on, for some strange... Sorry about that, guys, if I acted a bit strange there. I had a phone call and I didn't recognise the number, so I didn't answer it. Yeah, whenever this used to come on, for some strange reason, it used to come on at Christmas time. I mean, the film starts off at Christmas time, although it's not actually a Christmas film, but it starts off at Christmas time when they are approached by Mr Blunden. But then when they move to the house, it's like in the sort of spring, sort of summertime, and the story sort of unfolds to this wonderful story, and with a sort of like an ending which is really, really cool. It's really, really good, and the big reveal, obviously I've already explained to you about Mr Blunden being a ghost, but it's not explained until really the end of the film. So a little bit of a spoiler there, but I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's such an old film. It's been out, this is a film of my childhood, and I'm in my 50s now. So this is a very old film. It's a very wonderful, wonderful film. So what do I think of The Amazing Mr Blunden? Like I said, it's an incredible film. It's amazing, absolutely fantastic. The pluses of this edition, the transfer does look really nice. It's kept its natural grain. It still looks of its age, but it has been cleaned up very nice, and it is quite vibrant with the colours, and there is some nice natural grain. It's extremely well acted, amazingly acted film. It's an incredible classic haunting horror story, classic children's story. It's absolutely fantastic. Negatives, there is none whatsoever about the film. It's incredible. So I'm going to score the film an essential watch and give it a 10 out of 10. It is an essential film, I think, and part of horror history. it's a part of my horror history because it's one of the earliest films I saw that I really, really enjoyed and was engrossed in for the horror sort of story side of it. Yes, it's horror, not in your um, scary sense. It's your horror in its atmospheric um, ghost story, um, which unfolds to be this wonderful, wonderful sort of crime mystery as well, which is really, really cool. It's so different. Amazing Mr Blunden, 10 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below what you thought of it. I thought it's such a good film. There's just, although it's old, it hasn't aged. It's still a joy to watch at my age now, in my 50s. It's such a joy to watch. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, guys, hope you've enjoyed this little review. Once again, I apologise for the interruption there of the phone call. I didn't know what was going on because it said that the video had stopped, but it looked like it was still running. But it might well have stopped, I don't know. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you all soon.